you can even watch back. Giving players all the props or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk facts.
We're giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
Play it on the car ride, play it when you lounge. X and O, you know that we can hold it down. Shout out to my man Sammy, got it off the ground. And to all the listeners tuned in right now, got debates, analysis, and speculation. This is sports talk for the new generation. You know where to find us, got a reputation. Sick Podcast, your #1 sports destination.
Giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
S-I-C-K, it's the sickest podcast. Tune in for the audio, or you can even watch back. Giving players all the props or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk back. S-I-C-K,
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 S-I-C-K.
All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
S-I-C-K, it's the sickest podcast. Tune in for the audio, or you can even watch back. Giving players all the props or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk facts.
We're giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
Play it on the car ride, play it when you lounge. X and O, you know that we can hold it down. Shout out to my man Sammy, got it off the ground. And to all the listeners tuned in right now, got debates, analysis, and speculation. This is sports talk for the new generation. You know where to find us, got a reputation. Sick Podcast, your #1 sports destination.
Giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
S-I-C-K, it's the sickest podcast. Tune in for the audio, or you can even watch back. Giving players all the props or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk back. S-I-C-K,
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 S-I-C-K.
Turn up your volume. Because you're about to listen to The Sick Podcast. The Eye Test with Pierre McGuire and Jimmy Murphy.
The Stanley Cup winning Colorado Avalanche. And after 22 years is Raymond Mark.
The sickest NHL podcast. Brought to you by TCS Customs and Logistics. Moving pieces, delivering peace of mind. It's gonna be sick.
And welcome to another edition of the Eye Test here on the Sick Podcast Network. I am Jimmy Murphy. He is Pierre McGuire. And Pierre, I am live from PJ O'Neill's in the basement of the Lake Placid Pub and Brewery. Pierre, this place, and we were just talking, you've been here. It's my first time here, and I'm already in love with it.
It's hard not to fall in love with it. It's a beautiful place, and you're going to be amazingly fortunate to eat some of their food, sample some of their beverage, and I would tell you right now, it's an outstanding place to be. Yeah,
it's great, Pierre. I'm really enjoying it. The staff here is really nice, and of course, Doug Christensen, Nick Srbinski, and Julia Webster are all here as well from the ECAC. Doug and Nick will be joining us shortly. But everybody is starting to filter in here. And Lake Placid, the teams are getting in as we speak right now. Some are a little later. Of course, Quinnipiac had the longest ride of all, so they'll probably be the latest, I'm guessing. But Pierre, I'll tell you, for my ride, it was great. Beautiful day. The weather's nice. But one thing I will say is I would not like to do it in the middle of a snowstorm.
I've done that too.
I figured you had.
I agree with you. By the way, you talked about Quinnipiac's long ride. Nobody knows the road from Hamden, Connecticut better than the Quinnipiac Bobcats in Lake Placid, because Rand Pecknell's team's there all the time.
Yes.
It's an amazing success story. It's neat to have Clarkson back in Lake Placid. They've been out for a little while, so it's nice to see them back. Dartmouth coming back 2 years in a row. Tremendous accomplishment by Reed Cashman, his staff, and his players. Outstanding accomplishment. And for Cornell and Mike Schaefer, they know the road from Ithaca, New York pretty darn well up to Lake Placid. So this is going to be a great Final Four in the ECAC. I would speculate this, Jimmy, just in terms of the national rankings. In order, I think, for two teams to go from the ECAC, somebody's going to have to upset Quinnipiac.
Yeah,
that's the only way I could see two teams going. And Quinnipiac's going to have to get to the final. Unless that happens, I can only see one team going from the ECAC to the NCAA tournament, and that would be the winner of the tournament.
Okay, yeah, and it should be two great games. The first game will be on Friday at 4:00. Pierre, you look at it right now. We've had this discussion. I'm glad you brought that up about the pairwise and everything. Just in a broader sense, across college hockey right now, what conference championship or Final Four could have the most bearing on the pairwise, in your opinion?
Hockey East.
That's what I figured.
Hockey East.
Yep.
The number one seed's already out.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of stuff there could be mayhem in Hockey East.
Yeah.
So that's going to be interesting to watch. A lot. Everybody talks a good game. This has nothing to do about talking. It has to do about winning. You got to win. Northeastern went to Merrimack. They went on the road. They knew they had to win in a tough environment. They won in double overtime. Nobody gave them a chance. The odds maker had it 87% for Boston College, 13 for Northeastern. Northeastern won. They won.
You could have bet. If you went to Betway, our great, wonderful sponsor, and you wanted to bet Northeastern, you could have bet $100 and won $750 off that bet.
So think about that. Think about that for a second. So the point is that I think hockey could affect a lot, but the ECAC, if Quinnipiac gets to the final and let's just say loses, and it doesn't matter to whomever, the champion of the ECAC is going no matter what.
Right.
And I still think Quinnipiac's can have a fighting chance to go.
Yeah.
So that's where the rubber meets the road. And so that's going to be an interesting thing to watch this weekend. But I would say outside of Quinnipiac, if you're any of the other teams, this reminds me of Colgate 2 years ago. Mm-hmm. Colgate had to win out to go to the NCAA tournament, and they did. That year you had four teams from the ECAC. You had Cornell, you had Harvard, you had Quinnipiac, and you had Colgate.
Is that the most that they've had in one tournament?
As far as I know.
Yeah. The other thing I was going to ask for my personal interest, Pierre, UMass Amherst right now is seemingly in. I mean, it says, I've been reading all the different articles saying they're 90 to 95% in. However, if Northeastern wins, could that bump UMass out?
Well, if Northeastern wins the whole thing,
Yeah.
Somebody's going to get bounced out.
Right. That's what I'm thinking. Like some of these teams that are sitting in that so-called comfy position waiting right now, they might be waiting for nothing if Northeastern pulls off that upset and gets all the way.
Boston College is in. UConn's in.
Yep.
BU's in. Providence is in.
Yep.
So let's just say you add and you're playing the hypothetical. I'm not, because I don't need people ripping me on the air.
Okay.
So let's say Northeastern wins. Let's just say they do.
Yep.
And we didn't say Maine yet either.
Yeah. Well, Maine's in already. Yeah, for sure.
So Maine's in. That's what I'm saying.
Right.
So you add Northeastern, that's 6. That's 6 out of 16. So what happens to UMass?
They get their bumped. That's it.
Well, I don't know if they're bumped. That's what I'm saying. These tournaments are going to be wacko jacko because Dakota and Arizona got something to say about this too.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Because they're not lead pipe cinched to get in either.
Remember last year too, when it was UMass, who was it? UMass and Colorado College, right? Came down to the wires. One of those was going to be the last team in, and UMass got it.
It was UMass and Colorado College.
And it was because of Springfield, right? And it was because of where the regional was. Remember?
In Springfield.
Yep. So anyhow, and by the way, I want to show everybody here, Pierre. They just put them here in front of me, but you couldn't see them in the camera. These are ECAC Lake Placid Brewery beers. How cool is that? Okay,
so here's the adult beverage question. Because you're such a good teammate, you know that 4-pack, you're going to go to the lady at the front desk and say, Mr. McGuire's arriving on such and such a day. I need to put those in his refrigerator.
They have a small refrigerator right here, Pierre. I can do that for you. I'll put a little name tag on it for you, okay?
That's good. I need that. That's right.
McGuire right there. Sounds good. Hey, I can't drink them in. So that's what I said. I said to these guys, they're trying to hand me freebies to take. I said, listen, give them to me and I'll pass them along to Pierre. So you're my guinea pig for this stuff. That's anyhow. Good. Listen, also I want to we're gonna bring on Doug Christensen and Nick in a bit here. But I want to get into some NHL last night because a really busy night, huge night, and obviously a majority of our fan base here is from Montreal, and they are a happy fan base indeed right now. I would urge them, though, keep in the present, look ahead, don't get overconfident, and we'll get into that about their schedule in a bit. But, Pierre, what a win for the Montreal Canadiens to tie it twice and then go on to win 6-3. And they also got some really big games from a lot of guys in the bottom 6 that we've been waiting. Not waiting. I mean, they've been playing better, but waiting to show up on the score sheet. And I just think this team right now is coming together at the right time. We were talking off the air, and we'll get to the New York Rangers in a bit, but we were kind of comparing and contrasting. And you can see the chemistry, and it's the word I'm looking for, and just confidence, pure confidence in each other in this Montreal team versus that Rangers team right now.
Well, Josh Anderson chose a great night to really bring the heat. Forecheck, back check. He was tremendous offensively. He was gritty. He was clean. He was smart. So he deserves a lot of credit. Christian Dvorak, that might be the best NHL game he's ever played. He had 4 points in that game, a goal and 3 assists. But where he was really good was being smart in his own zone. I really admire the way he played the game. I thought Jake Evans did some very good things in the game, especially the empty net goal. The play he made coming out of his own zone was outstanding. Lane Hudson's goal, that's not a grinder's goal. That's an artist's goal. Jimmy, that's a thing of beauty. It was a tough night for the top line. Suzuki, Caulfield, and Safkowski didn't get a lot done. But the power play goal that Suzuki scored, he was on the ice for 1 minute and 59 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
He stayed on the entire time. They scored with 1 second left on the power play. That guy played his heart out. Didn't mean he played great. He played his heart out. And that's why I can't stand when people use numbers all the time, because I don't think they win the game without that guy. The numbers came from the grinders. The numbers came from the depth guys. The numbers came from the guys that usually don't get rewarded with numbers. Yep. They're the guys that delivered the numbers. And the other thing I'll say is when Travis Hamonic scored, it didn't look good for this team. It did. It was a bad goal by Montembeault. He didn't give up a lot, but he gave up one there. They just dug deep, Jimmy. They dug deep.
And I love how you brought up too. It wasn't the best night for the top line, but they've been waiting for a while for the other guys to kind of come into the action there and step up, and they did. And the other, you bring up Christian Dvorak there. Obviously, a great night. His best game of the season for him, stats wise, everything. But Pierre, this is a guy that I'll admit I was down on for a while. And heading into this season, I'm like, they got to find a way to dump that salary, get rid of him. As this season has gone on, have you noticed, like me, that he's been really accepting his role and digging in and doing the little things that matter that don't show up on the score sheet?
What I will say is exactly what you say. I'll echo it and also add he's displayed an unbelievable amount of professionalism. Mm-hmm. When most guys would have folded under the criticism and the bright lights in Montreal, and he took some savage attacks from people online in particular. He never complained. He never whined. You never saw him have bad body language. He was a pro's pro. I don't know him very well as a person. I know him very well as a player. I have so much respect for the player, and I wish I knew the person better because that's a guy that's got a lot of character. I can tell you that right now, Jimmy. I have a ton of respect for the way he's carried himself this year. Look, I don't think they're bringing him back. I'll be surprised if they bring him back. But what he's done around the league, he's cemented an image for himself, Jimmy, where he's going to get another contract. It's not going to be for the money he's getting now.
Once again, we don't script this. That was going to be my next question. What do you think this will do for him in the offseason if the Canadians don't bring him back? But you answered already.
He's going to get another contract. He's going to get a contract from a team that needs a third or fourth center. He's probably looking at Jake Evans' number, probably 2 to 2.5. Jake's obviously at 2.75. That's probably – and I don't want his agent calling you up and saying, oh, McGuire shouldn't say that. That's where he's coming in. That's just where
that's fair.
It is.
That's fair. Yeah.
And that's, if I were negotiating against his agent, I'd tell him, you take it or leave it. That's what you're getting. Yeah. But he's done an amazing job. So very, very respecting of him and appreciative of his efforts this entire year.
If you're another NHL executive with a team that's kind of on the same path as the Montreal Canadiens right now, maybe they're a little behind them, maybe they're a little bit ahead of them in terms of building something and on the rise. How much do you notice a guy like that who's working with a lot of young kids and doesn't say, well, this is crazy. This kid's getting more playing time than me. And like you said, he's not sulking. He's going out there and he's almost reinventing himself for the better of the team. How much does another NHL executive notice that?
A lot, especially the guys that work. Now, there's some guys that are BSers. They pretend they work and they don't work. Mm-hmm. Most of the guys work. They work real hard. And by working, it's not manual labor. It's eyeball labor. You're watching games. You're evaluating stats. You're evaluating tape. It's just a different kind of labor. But no, I would say that he's played his way into a lot of real positive situations for him going forward. I don't know what's going to happen with Rick Tocchet in Vancouver. Rick's coached his butt off. They're in a playoff spot right now. But what I'd say is, I know Rick likes him a lot. That's just one example. Anybody that wants to try to sign this guy, you should call Rick Tocchet. He'll tell you.
That's right, because he had him in zone.
Tremendous person. Now, that's from Rick. I don't know the person. I know the player. Mm-hmm. And the player to me has really enhanced his reputation around the league significantly.
I'm glad you brought up Vancouver there, Pierre. That's where I was going to go out west there. Impressive win for them. Just all over 6 goals on the Winnipeg Jets, the best team in hockey.
Yeah.
We've been saying it off the air, Pierre. Rick, he's not going to get considered for coach of the year or anything, but I said it the other day and I'm going to say it again. Yeah. He deserves a ton of credit for all the drama he's put up with in Vancouver and for the fact that he still has them where they are, because they could have easily fell off the cliff.
Yeah, no, Jimmy, that's really well said. Look at the drama there. I think it's starting to stop a little bit, which is good. Mm-hmm. Who knows how this drama started? I don't know. And I don't know. I don't want to know about it.
Right.
It bothers me when adult guys that have worked so hard to get to where they are have that kind of stuff happen. Yep. But, Jimmy, to me, Rick's done a good job. You're not going to get coach of the year, obviously. St. Louis got to be in it. Arneal's got to be in it. Carberry's got to be in it. I mean, there's some guys out there that have done really good coaching jobs, really, really good coaching jobs. But yeah, Ryan Huska, we talked about him. How about Calgary? Jimmy. Okay, stop the music. Calgary get blown out. They get blown out in Toronto on Monday night. They don't just get beat; they get wiped out, and they get beat a lot of different ways. They get beat on the scoreboard. They get beat up physically. They get beat up. They don't get to New York till 3:00 in the morning because they got to clear customs, and it's all kinds of mayhem. They get in at 3 a.m. They go into Madison Square Garden. They hold the freaking Rangers to 13 shots, Jimmy.
Unreal.
13 shots.
Unreal. And you know what, Pierre? I'm glad that you took that from the Flames angle, giving them credit, because a lot of people right now all over the airwaves on social media say, how can a Ranger, and we said it to each other just now before we came on. I mean, what's up with the Rangers only getting 13 shots against the Flames? Like, how do they do that in the middle of a playoff race? Well, they've got a lot of things to be guilty of there. Let's not forget the positives that the Flames did to hold them to those shots.
Hey, Nazem Kadri played his tail off. Deserves a whack of credit. Played his tail off. Matt Coronado gets his 17th goal last night. He's a Long Island kid coming to play against the Rangers.
Yep.
You can only imagine what that felt like for him.
Yep.
Our guy, because I'm going to put you in my team now, our guy, Rasmus Anderson. Like, how special that guy is? Hi, Commissioner. How you doing? How about how special that guy is? Rasmus Anderson, spectacular player. So, Jimmy, you put it all together. They go into Madison Square Garden. They get to the 5th floor, and they say, you know what? We're going to punch these guys right in the mouth. And that's what they did. Yep. And the Rangers had no pushback. And I get it. I get it that fans in New York are teed off. Boomer Esiason's a buddy of mine. He does the morning radio show here. He's demanding that Peter Laviolette be fired. I don't know whether he should be fired or not, but I know one thing. They had an optional skate today, and 4 or 5 guys didn't take the option. I'll tell you, if I were the GM of that team, I'd kick their ass so hard, you have no idea.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. Well, you mentioned Mr. Coronado. We know what conference he played in, the ECAC with Harvard. And sitting next to me now here is the ECAC commissioner, Doug Christensen, joining me here at PJ O'Neill's and the Lake Placid Pub and Brewery. Commish, how you doing?
Great. Thanks so much for having me. Obviously, really excited.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah. Fantastic. Thanks
yeah.
We love having you with us. Come on.
Great. It's great. No, it's really a ton of fun. And obviously, we're looking forward to seeing you here eventually. And obviously, it's great to have Jimmy. He's making sure to keep your seat warm.
That's right. And his beer is cold. It seems, too, we keep meeting in pubs. I like this.
Well,
this is good.
Schedule your show.
Yeah, it's not a bad thing. All right, so I'm going to put my mic in the middle there. I'm getting a note that one's not working there.
Okay, all right.
Oh, that's good. I hear you loud and clear, Commish.
There we go.
Can
you hear Doug okay?
I got the Commish loud and clear.
All right.
Perfect.
So, Doug, just take us inside the planning of this and where you are right now and how everything's coming together as we speak.
Sure. Obviously, first and foremost, Lake Placid is absolutely beautiful. It's, I say whether it's Scottsdale or Charleston or Vail, it's the hockey equivalent. It's a beautiful small town. It's got great people, and the people love hockey. They support it. I mean, one of the stores right by the rink, the lights outside the rink have helmets over them. I mean, you don't get that everywhere. There's a door handle that's got the hockey stick, right? And so when people come here, they come here for the hockey. And for us, we've been able to really tap into a lot of great people over at the Olympic Authority and at the 80 rink, and hopefully have a fantastic weekend.
Awesome. How long, did the planning basically begin when the last conference championship ended?
We took a little bit of a break, but
okay.
We did a debrief the week after. We'll do a debrief next week. But really, we started planning this in November, and we had every other week we had calls, and then we picked up to every week. And it was important for us, everything from VIP seats, which we have for the first time ever, to, of course, you talked about the beer before, but different things that we're trying to do to make it a really special experience. And what I talk about a lot is that, a championship is like a movie theater. You've accepted the fact that there's a risk. It might not be a good movie. It could be the best movie you've ever seen, but you walked in and you took that risk.
Yep.
Our fans coming to Lake Placid have accepted the risk. Their team could win. Their team could lose in the semifinal, right. But we need to make sure that we have a fantastic experience for everything around it, whether that's the band and roamers or whether that's all of the things that we do in the in-game show. So that's a really, really fun weekend. And if their team wins, they have a blast. If their team loses, they'll come back and say, maybe next year we'll win.
What is some of the things that you've gotten in terms of feedback from fans and from the schools that they've liked, or maybe that they said maybe you could improve?
I mean, from our standpoint, the best evidence of the fact that we're continuing to grow the crowd, right?
Mm-hmm.
We were consistently ahead of the crowd prior to the 4 teams being announced, which I think for us is a reflection of Lake Placid's a beautiful place. It's a ton of fun. They had a good time last year, so they're coming back again this year. We're doing that again, but we also wanted to make sure, like the VIP seating, if somebody wants to have an opportunity to have a really nice seat, right, and some of the best seats in the house, they have that opportunity there. And from my standpoint, we've been able to deliver that. And we also want to make sure we had some nice areas so that if people wanted to have food or drinks or things like that, that we've accommodated that for them so that they can have a really special experience.
And I want to tell everybody out there too, something you're excited about. The lower bowl is sold out right now. And now it's time to move people upstairs.
It's great. And I think like for us, that we look at that through the lens of, we have 4 really great teams here. We have 4 teams that are in the top 20 in the country. All 4 of them expect to win this weekend, which is great. I told our officiating coordinator we're going to have really intense games, and that I'm sure the officials will be prepared for it. Our staff will be prepared for it. But that's what we want. All 4 teams are coming here with the expectation of winning and making the NCAA tournament, and we're going to all be able to witness that.
Pierre, we can hear. If you want to chime in, go ahead.
No, I think the commission just touched on something really important. All 4 teams are really good teams. Clarkson's had a tremendous bounce back under JF Rule. I think Mike Schaefer and what they've done at Cornell this year after a kind of a tepid start has been really solid. I look at what Reed Cashman's done, and Coach and our commissioner and I have talked about Reed Cashman. He's put Dartmouth hockey right back on the map. He's done an amazing job. And so, you can look at all these different opportunities for all these other teams around these different conferences. I think the parity and the balance in the ECAC, especially with the upper echelon teams, it's pretty amazing. It really is amazing. And Rand Pecknold, he knows the ECAC better than anybody. And Commish, that's a marquee program for the league. It really is. And
for the country, right?
You know what? Better said than what I said. For the country, you're right. What's your feeling about where they're going with the Quebec Major Junior stuff and everything? Do you see them just continuing to flourish?
Well, I think the one thing that, in the case of Rand, he's done a great job of is consistently adapting and growing, and this will be no different. And I think all of our league is going to do the same thing. You look at this increased player supply. Well, an increased player supply means that you have more access to students have the opportunity to get into high-level schools too. So whether it's an academic side of it that's drawing somebody down, or whether that's something that they want to be able to come and play great hockey, we can do that at all 12 of our institutions. And I think that our schools have developed all year. And to your point, Pierre, we got 4 teams here that not only expect to win, but expect that they could be playing in April as well.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Pierre and I were just talking about that. I mean, you look right now at the pair-wise, what happens in this tournament could really shake things up.
For sure. And, from our end, we look around, you see, we talk about Hockey East and Northeastern. Well, for us, that's a school that helps us if they lose. But it depends how this weekend shakes out for everybody. But that's what we're all here for. That's why it's the best time of year. That's why it's playoff hockey. We want our teams to be able to showcase themselves at this time of the year, go on to the NCAA tournament, and earn whatever they get. And we feel really good about the 4 teams that are here. We also would have felt good if other teams made it too, but that's the beauty of our league. We have tremendous tremendous parity, and one goal one way or the other is typically the difference between potentially having home ice in the playoffs or winding up as a team that is not playing anymore.
Jimmy, one other thing, because the commissioner's there, and I know how much it matters to him. Let's not forget the ECAC women and how well they've done this year.
Oh, yeah.
And Cornell's going to the Frozen Four in Minnesota. Doug Dara and his women's team at Cornell, they're really good, Jimmy. They've really, really good. And I don't think enough people, Commish, talk about how great a job you and your staff have done with the ECAC women.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. The best statistic of our entire year was there was a week in January where we had 10 of the top 20 teams in the country on the women's side, which is an absolutely astronomical number. I don't care what sport you're in. That's a tremendous testament, not only to the top, but to the whole depth of the conference, that every single night was a battle. And for Doug Dara and Cornell to be able to win the regular season title and their playoff championship, where they did a fantastic job hosting, and their staff was fantastic too, really shows that how good of a team they are. And they're going to the Frozen Four this weekend. They play Ohio State on Saturday, and hopefully
nobody knows.
Hopefully they wind up winning that game and get a chance at the national championship.
Just staying in the women's side there, I'm wondering how in touch, how in communication are you guys with the PWHL as they start to foster their league, and what's the communication like between your conference and just women's hockey, college hockey in
I would
general?
say it's not just our conference, it's all of the conferences.
Right.
Over 90% of the players in the PWHL our college hockey players.
Right.
So there's a logical connection there. I think for us though, as our league, you look at the number of players that we had drafted. We had the number 1 overall pick. We had 4 of the first 6 picks.
That's right.
We've had some really, really high-end players go on to the PWHL. So we want to continue to build that relationship, and it's been really, really productive so far. And I see that continuing. And the PWHL is going to be coming to our meetings in Bonita Springs at the beginning of May. And I think that's another opportunity for us to learn more about their initiatives and how we can help support that.
Good stuff. Going back off ice, I'm wondering, is the tournament's going on, the ECAC tournament, before you get here, and you don't know who's going to win. So what goes on in terms of logistics, not knowing who's going to actually be here, and how do you manage that?
Well, we talked about it every single week. We're planning and we're talking about the different teams. But what we did in the beginning of February is we sent an email to all the schools saying, if you make it, who's coming? How many VIPs are you going to have? How many hotels are you going to have? Are you leaving if you win the championship? Are you leaving Friday if you lose in the semifinals? So we knew all that stuff in advance. We could inform the hotels here. So, put a PX here. We already know their travel schedule.
Perfect.
And then it just comes down to, for them, working with the hotels and the High Peaks here and Gina have been absolutely fantastic.
Yes.
Everything from whether they want salmon or they've got a vegetarian or they've got somebody with allergies, all of those things they've been able to accommodate, which for our teams, they need to be able to come here and feel as comfortable as they possibly can so that their bodies can go out and perform.
Awesome. Pierre?
Jimmy, I've been in the ECAC since 1979. So I've known it for a long period of time as a player, as a coach, and somebody that's had the privilege of working with the commish. So my question to the commissioner is, how excited are you to see a brand new rink at Union, your alma mater?
It's great for the league. Of course, it's good for Union College. It's great for both of their programs. But I think it's something that, ironically, this is a long time ago. I was on a committee as a student to help get a new rink. It gives you an idea how long ago they've been looking to get a rink. So
that was only a few years ago, right?
Huge credit. Yeah, thanks for that. I appreciate that. Which is huge credit to Jim McLaughlin, the athletic director at Union, to get that over the line. And I'm telling you, when you see where it is in the community, you're going to say, that's going to be a success. And it's because it's in a beautiful location. They've really built that area up, and they're going to draw people that have never come to a Union game. They're going to keep coming back. And I think they're going to be a benefactor of the fact that Albany doesn't have an American League team anymore. And they're going to have their hockey people there, and they're going to be able to come there, have a great Friday or Saturday night, support the men's and women's teams, and have a lot of fun. And it's just off of the campus. And so the students aren't going to be, cut off of it where it's, 5 miles away or something like that. It's just off to the campus. So for us as a league, we're thrilled, but it's not just Union. Cornell's put money into their rink. RPI is looking at putting money into their rink. Colgate got a new rink in the recent years. So teams are continuing to put money into their rinks, and that's something for our whole league, strengthens our whole league because it gets better players into our league, keeps better players in the league longer, and that allows us to have real success.
Hey, Jimmy, before you get going, the commission knows this. Anybody that's a hockey fan needs to make the pilgrimage to Hobey Baker Arena at Princeton. And they're doing a gut job on Hobey Baker, and it is a beautiful arena. So if you're around the Princeton, New Jersey area, get to Hobey Baker Arena. I coached a bunch of games there. I watched my son play a bunch of games there, and I can tell you, it's a magnificent place.
So, so they're keeping it, and they're keeping
it, and they're putting in all sorts of different, obviously, when you have a rink that's as historic as it is, you're not going to change what it is, right? You don't take down the Green Monster at Fenway, right? You build around it and you improve it, and that's what they're doing.
I wish more places would do that. I wish the NHL did that with some arenas. I already said about the Boston Garden. Come on.
Hey, you're not old enough, Jimmy.
They've done a really nice job, and it's an important piece of
stuff. They should have done that to the Montreal Forum. Come on.
I don't want to talk about what that is now, right?
A couple of years ago.
All right, we're going to bring in your
Nick
deputy commissioner. Nick Stabinsky's coming in.
Perfect. Nick, come on over.
And I want to remind everybody, too, I'm going to hold these up again, the ECAC beers here at the Lake Placid Pub and Brewery. Check them out. If you come in here.
Jimmy, I see my name on one.
I can't vouch for the taste, but I'm sure they're delicious.
I see my name on that one, Jimmy.
Yes, it does say Pierre there. The other one says McGuire.
Okay, good.
And then it says Melanie as well. All right.
I can. It's a good citrus IPA. It's really good.
Nick, welcome. You're the deputy commissioner here at the ECAC. Welcome aboard the eye test here. As we were just talking to Doug, just the amount of effort that goes into this and all the stuff that people don't see behind the scenes. What's it been like for you in your role? What What are you tackling specifically?
It's the best. I love it up here. I always tell people I played when I was 12, like a lot of us did up here, and was able to come back up a few times in between. But I always make the joke about this week. It's the best week of the year on the job. And then you can't wait till it's over because of all the work. But when you're here, the real part is, man, it is such a good time to be here. All the work we do, I would do double to come and do a championship here every year. The teams come up, the fans are great. I have a lot of a role on the digital side, the external side, the partnerships, credentials, media, TV, as Pierre knows, everything on social. Our social media has grown exponentially this year, which we will definitely talk about, but that's the effort and the work that you do. And in the moment, you're like, man, this is a grind. But then you look back and there's a lot of things I could be doing that are a little bit worse. Right. And I think I'll take it. I think we'll take hockey and social media and everything we do every time. It's really good.
Hey, Nick, what's the magic to Quinnipiac? You're a Quinnipiac guy. What's the magic?
I think it's been a build, right? It's not something that's just been tried to throw together. And I think in this day and age, especially you see it in the basketball world, I've been seeing things all day about who's leaving where already. The tournament hasn't even started yet. Right. I think what Rand has done and being there from before they were anything, right. There's a lot that goes into that. And you take stock in someone who's put a lot of time and effort into building from the ground. And you talk to him, he talks about culture and foundation and what goes into being a Quinnipiac student athlete and a Quinnipiac hockey athlete. And that comes through that if they have, it works in this day and age, right? They are able to bring in transfers, bring in fifth years, and have these players that if you're going to come play at Quinnipiac, you have to be part of that culture. You can't be your own guy. You got to be that. And then your own guy comes out in their culture. And I think that's what works. And I think you've seen, the year they won the national championship, all those guys that stayed for 50 years, everyone talks about, they had 50 years, they were old. They didn't have guys coming from other places. Those were all their 50-year guys that believed in the culture. And I think that's what the core of it is that there's a foundation that's a belief that when you're there for the group, and that's what makes a difference.
Jimmy, you know what's so cool about what Nick said? The year that Quinnipiac won the national championship, they lost to Colgate in overtime in the semifinal. Harvard played Colgate, and so that was the year that Quinnipiac, Harvard, Colgate, and Cornell, 4 teams from the ECAC, went to the national tournament. That was an amazing accomplishment for the ECAC.
Yeah, it was a great year. That was ironically, that was my first year not working at Quinnipiac. So I worked at Quinnipiac my last year. I got COVID the week of Lake Placid. Didn't get to come. Right. Then I switched jobs to this role, and they come up here, and you still, my bias is gone. I tell everyone I want the ECAC to win. But when then Quinnipiac goes on a run, I get to root for them a little bit again in the national championship. And it was the year I wasn't there. So I got a part of it from being here. But it's great. I think having 4 teams that year on both the men's and women's side was such a big accomplishment for the league. And it's just something we look to build on.
Pierre, I remember coming into the season, we were talking about different college hockey teams, and you were saying, I'm worried about Quinnipiac because they lost so many guys. Would you guys agree that this is maybe one of Rand's best coaching jobs?
Well, I will tell you at the beginning of the year, even in regular private conversation, but also in public, so I can say it. He was talking about, I don't know what this year is going to be. We're going to have to work. Right. And that goes with the identity and the culture, right? Having such a young team, so many new guys, the system he runs on the ice, even, not to get into X's and O's, but the system he runs in the neutral zone that he won't call it a trap. It's an attack, but you don't just learn that on day one. So you don't expect to be good day one with a new group. And now where they are at this point, it's been, you can see they're playing their system and they're in their culture. And that's why they put on this run to put themselves in a chance to get the at-large again and maybe to win in Lake Placid.
Nick, are you surprised at all the job that JF Wool's done getting Clarkson back to the tournament?
No, I'm not surprised. I didn't know him personally before he came into our league, as just not being in that world of the pro side from myself, but he's a great hockey mind, as we all know. He's a great guy. I think the foundation that was laid at Cornell was Clarkson was a position that he was able to come in and put his touch on and really capitalize. And what he's done to be able to extract some production from some of the players that he has should not go unnoticed. It's been incredible. I would not say surprised, but really, really pleased to see Clarkson, like Doug said, back at the top where they belong on the national stage. They should be ranked. They should be there. And they're, as we've seen with their fans and our ticket numbers, Clarkson makes a difference, in a lot of ways. And we need them to be good, and it makes a big difference. It's a great
Jimmy,
culture.
what Nick just said is so appropriate. Those North Country teams, whether it's St. Lawrence, whether it's Clarkson, they matter at this tournament. They matter a lot. And I can tell you, like, I lived and worked and coached at St. Lawrence, and I loved it there. But I can tell you right now, a lot of my friends are, even though St. Lawrence isn't there, they're coming down. They're coming down to Placid because people don't realize how big hockey is in the North Country. It's a massive endeavor. It really is.
And Pierre, I want to echo that too. I just said to someone at the bar here, we always look at what teams are coming. It helps our crowd if we get certain teams and you have that algorithm a little bit that works. But for us, now we had a great success last year. The numbers were great. St. Lawrence helped that. Now Clarkson's helping us with Cornell being another big number this year. Our goal for this year and last year now has to be, we want to put on an event. The people are coming, right? So we're not worried about the attendance or the ticket sales. Now for the next 3 days, our focus has to be the event is the best event these people have attended. So that next year, Clarkson and St. Lawrence are not in it. Those hockey fans and the core culture of what they do are still coming.
Yeah,
no, not even spread the word.
Yeah.
Then they should be here wearing their Clarkson, yelling night in the national anthem, even if Clarkson's not here.
Okay.
And that's how we build, right? This should be, if I didn't work for the ECAC, I would be coming to this tournament every year.
Right.
Whether Quinnipiac as my alma mater is in it or not, because it's an event. So now if we can make the event good and the fanfare and coming out to Lake Placid Pub and Brewery and having one of our hat trick hazy IPAs, that's something that makes a big difference. And I want to be able to get to that from my role on the social media side, on the digital. When I see people in the streets, we wear ECAC stuff on purpose and say hello. And, oh, that was a nice guy from that league, right?
Yeah.
They should be coming no matter who the teams are. And then that upper bowl gets really interesting.
That's true,
right?
because the Frozen Four in hockey or the Final Four in basketball.
Right.
It's an event.
How many times
so many fans there?
How many times
They're
at the
not even
Frozen
involved.
Four, like I did it last year, you could sit at the Frozen Four and count how many different jerseys you see, right? You don't see 4, you see 40.
Yeah.
And those people are there every year, no matter where it is. This is a destination you want to come back to. And this is, how could it be any better?
Yeah, I hear you. Pierre, you got anything else there, my friend?
No, I'm really proud of what Nick has done. I worked with Nick all season long. And I have to tell you, Jimmy, his professionalism, the amount of guests we had on for the ECAC podcasts, the difference maker shows were phenomenal. We've got an amazing array of ideas for next year because it is an Olympic year. So that's news to come down the road. But the growth of this league has happened because Nick and Doug have not been afraid to go the extra mile. And it's really worked. And it's the caliber of play is amazing in the league. It is. It's amazing. The difference between their league and some others is maybe some of the bottom teams aren't as good. They're going to have to work to get up, but they're getting there. That's my point. They're getting there, and that's the positive part about it. The top-end teams are still real good, real good.
Yeah, and I think, listen, hockey's had an unprecedented year pairwise, right? They've done a lot of good things in the non-conference. They had so many teams. We ended up this weekend, we have 4 teams in the top 22 of the pairwise in our Final Four. So when you look at the depth of the league, and some people may question, they don't have 9 in the top 6 like Hockey East does, right? But if the Hockey East had a normal year, we probably have 3 or 4 teams in the tournament, right? Because we're 1 or 2 games. If you look at Clarkson, Dartmouth, Cornell, they're 1 or 2 games there away from being in that next step where they're 13, 14 like Quinnipiac is. But Pierre, I want to just thank you for what you've done for the growth with our digital. I had a great media team this year. We put together a lot of interns that are grinding and really making their mark and their path. We had over 1 million impressions on Instagram every month for the last 5 months. Wow. And we only have 15,000 followers on Instagram. So when you really figure out those numbers, 70% of our views on Instagram are non-followers. Yeah. Which means the growth and the sharing and the content is out there, and we're just trying to build more. Our YouTube has been great. We were on SNY for 10 games in addition to what the teams booked. We had our own 10 games on SNY. The growth there has been incredible. We're just going to continue to elevate.
I just want to ask you too, just for fans watching that might be coming, are there any specific fan events or specific things you want to direct them to?
Yeah, listen, the hub for kind of your hangout is Lake Placid Pub and Brewery.
Right here. Yep.
Come out down here. As you know, like we said, the beer's right here. It's cold. It's great. I may have had 1 or 2 last night. There may be one at the bar for me when I get done with this, before the teams get here. But yeah, come out here. We've got rumors in the arena, which you'll be at tomorrow and Friday. Yep. We'll have live music there in between games on Friday.
Oh, cool.
And then if you're not able to come, obviously we'd love to have you. But if you're not able to come on ESPN Plus, we're doing a 20-minute pregame show on Friday before the first game. Stick on the broadcast after the first semifinal for 25-minute bridge show in between. Get some more content. We'll do live interviews with coaches and players in studio at the rink. And then we'll do another 25-minute pregame show on Saturday before the finals. So the content's endless. If you're here, great. We'll see you. We'll have a beer with you. If you're not here, have one at home, and be sure to catch us on ESPN+.
Great stuff, man. Good
Jimmy,
luck this
thank
week.
you.
I'm looking forward to
Way to
it.
go, Nick.
Thanks for having you. Thanks, Pierre.
I'll see you soon, Nick. See you soon.
Not too northeast. Not too much.
Did you hear him?
I heard him.
All right.
They're my
We
friends.
apologize. We had some mic difficulties there. I apologize if you couldn't hear us in the beginning
You
there,
don't have
Pierre.
to
But
apologize. You're doing an amazing job.
All right.
I heard what they said. Don't worry. I get it. I know who they want to lose. It's okay. I understand.
I'm
it.
rooting for you, Pierre. Good stuff. I want, before we move on to our sponsors and the Q&A, one thing, we were talking about JF Houle, this question came into my mind. I wanted to ask you there, but I want to let him get his stuff in there. Pierre, what's it like for a coach when he goes from pro to college as opposed to going from college to pro, as JF did?
Just so much more experience. The one thing that helps JF is he played at Clarkson. So he knows the college game. He knows all the players. I'm talking about behind the scenes. He knows the administrators. He knows a lot of professors. He knows the way the school is run. He knows the classes his players should be in. All that stuff makes it easier as an adjustment. But I think the one thing is when you go back, and I coached in the NHL for a long time.
Yeah, you did it, right?
Coaching the minors.
Right.
And the experience you have from coaching pro hockey at the highest level, let's just say you coach 100 games in a year with playoffs and exhibition, let's just say. That would take you almost 3 years to do that in college. So every year that you coach pro, it's 3 years of college. So your experience levels are just so much greater. And when you're coaching pro hockey, you're not recruiting. You're just coaching. You don't worry about the other stuff unless your GM tells you to go do something. You just worry about your players. In college, you're coaching, you're looking after the equipment guys, you're going on the road recruiting, you're dealing with guys that might have issues in the classroom, you're dealing with a lot of stuff. So it's a different. So he's very prepared for what he's doing.
Does the fact, Pierre, that that the NHL has gotten so younger over the last 10 years, would that help a coach going from the NHL back to college because he's used to dealing with younger kids as opposed to maybe 20 years ago?
Yeah, I think that's actually a really good point. And now with the CHL situation, with major junior players, going to play in college eventually next year in particular, that's gonna change a lot. If I were an athletic director of a school, I would try to look at, if I had alumni coaching in pro hockey, would I be able to get them to come back to my school, leave pro hockey, and come and run a program because of the experience factor, and also the fact is you're going to have a lot of guys that have been drafted from major junior coming to play college hockey.
Right.
That's going to give you an advantage recruiting wise. It's easier to sell. Well, I've been there. I've coached this player and I've coached that player and I've coached this player. Whereas a guy will say, well, I recruited that player and he played in the NHL, but I didn't really coach him.
I hear you.
Big difference.
Good stuff. All right, well, let's get to those sponsors that I spoke of right now and tell you first about our wonderful sponsor, TCS Customs and Logistics. Unlock the full potential of your shipping operation with TCS Customs and Logistics. From around the corner to around the world, flatbeds to air freight customs clearance to drawback consulting. TCS is a one-stop shop for all things transport, moving pieces and delivering a peace of mind. For no obligation customs or freight quote, contact sickpodcast at shiptcs.com. Again, that is sickpodcast at shiptcs.com. And of course, our wonderful gambling sponsor there. You can still go right now all the way with Betway, and you can still place your first bet. And if it loses, you'll get up to $200 credit still. So you go right there to the QR code right in front of you there if you're watching, or go to the details section on the website to sign up for a new account. The offer is only available to new customers. It is not available to those in Ontario right now. Terms and conditions apply. And of course, you must be 18 plus to play. All right, let's go to the sick pick of the day.
It's time for Sick Picks. Brought to you by Betway.
All right, only 2 games in the NHL tonight. So I'm going to combine those 2 games, and I'm going to get you the Leafs are hosting the Colorado Avalanche, and the Wild are hosting the Seattle Kraken. Do a 2-game parlay. Give me the Leafs on the money line, plus 105. Small underdogs there, good value to get revenge for that loss they had out in Colorado, I think about a week or 10 days ago.
10 days.
Yep, the 7-4 one. And then I'm going to take the home team again in Minnesota. Give me Minnesota on the puck line. You get them at plus 165. Get a good value there. Good luck. Let's get to our Q&A. All right, Randy Workman. Hey, Randy. What do you think? Do you think the Leafs sign Marner? I'm 50-50 right now, Pierre. I don't know. I honestly can't tell you.
I think it comes down to whether they win the cup or not.
You think if they win or they go on a run, it keeps them? Or I
think if they win and go on a run, they keep them.
Okay. That makes sense to me. I'm with you on that. All right, next question. Ron LaRoque, will you guys put the Demidov story to rest? I got raked over. Oh, I saw you. Ron, apologize. I've been on the road all day. I did see your email when I got here. Will you guys put the Demidov story to rest? I got raked over the coals yesterday in the comments section on Tony's show last night. So he's basically talking about will the Canadians pay the rest of his contract to get him over here? Pierre, I don't think that's going to happen to you.
I said I didn't think it would happen, but Ron's a really good hockey person. What happened? I don't even know. I was on Tony's show. It was almost a 2-hour show last night.
You know the keyboard warriors, Pierre.
No, but what happened? I just need to know.
Apparently he said something about it, saying that it's not happening, and people jumped all over him, and we're giving him a hard time.
I know one thing. Demidov's a healthy scratch for their game.
Mm-hmm.
And so the coach said that they're a mature team, older team, and Demidov's not strong enough physically to play against them, basically, is what he said. Yeah. So I don't know what Ron said that was wrong. I mean, I didn't read what Ron said, but for those that are out there, like, go easy, because I don't think Demidov's going to play Montreal this year.
Yeah, so I'm saying, I guess Ron's saying that people keep thinking that he's eligible for the playoffs, and he's not. Pierre, you've been saying that all along. I don't know why people won't just accept the fact.
I think one of those insiders said that.
Yeah.
I think one of those.
I think I know who it is, but I'm not going to call people out. But yeah, I think you're right. So it's in the comment section there if you want. Ron called him out, so we'll let Ron do it. All right. Next question. What do we got? Bert L. Question. Thoughts on philosophy of GMs such as Kyle Davidson drafting defense first in the rebuild and building from the blue line out? Or would you prefer to just pick the best player available? I like that they're building from the blue line out and even the net out, Pierre. I don't know about you. I like it.
Well, nothing wrong with that. I keep telling everybody I think Jimmy Higgins is a good player. I just watched him play a huge, playoff game. For a young kid, he had a lot of composure. He looked really good to me. I watched him play in the World Junior too. But if you're to ask me, I would take Matthew Schaefer over him. It's not because Schaefer's a defenseman and Higgins is a forward. It's because I think Schaefer's going to be a better NHL player. Mm-hmm. I do this all the time, Jimmy, when we get to draft stories, just to put it in perspective for people. In the 1990 draft, the Quebec Nordiques picked first. They took Owen Nolan. The Vancouver Canucks picked second. They took Peter Nedved. The Detroit Red Wings picked third. They took Keith Primo. The Philadelphia Flyers went fourth. They took Mike Ricci. And the Pittsburgh Penguins took Jaromir Jagr at 5. The New York Islanders at 6 took Scott Sissons. So when you look at the whole draft, who got the best player? The 5th pick overall.
Yep.
It had nothing to do with positions or anything else. They took the best player. If that guy's going to fall in your lap, I don't care what you do as a GM. You got to take the best player.
Yeah.
You don't think – I'll use this as an example. New York in the 2003 draft, Jimmy, hear me out. In Nashville, the New York Rangers took Hugh Jessamine in the first round. The Montreal Canadiens took the Montreal Canadiens took Andre Kostitsyn.
Yep.
All right. Players that were picked after him: Ryan Getzlaf, Corey Perry, Patrice Bergeron, Shea Weber. Joe Pavelski went 205th in that draft. 205th. So, I don't like that. It's not that I don't like the question. It's just that when you're building through the draft, you got to take the best player. Sometimes there's an organizational need for defense. Sometimes.
Right.
But more times than not, you take the best player.
Yeah.
Just stockpile. New Jersey under Lou, when New Jersey was really going, when New Jersey was on it, they always took a goalie in every draft. They
Yep.
took one goalie in every draft. And you know what they did with those goalies? They turned them into something. Craig Billington, Kurt McLean, Mike Dunham, like Chris Terreri. Go look at what they did.
Yeah.
That's what
It's
they
unreal.
did. And they kept one guy. They kept one guy, Marty Brodeur. But they had all these other guys that were there.
Yeah, I was just going to say it too. Like, even if you take the best player and he's not exactly the organizational need you have, you can always parlay that later on into a trade if it falls in your lap. You never know.
That's the magic of the draft. It's understanding what the value is of the player that you drafted, not just to your team, but potentially
ones
down the
after
road
you.
to other teams.
Yep.
And that nobody wants to talk about that. Nobody does.
Yeah.
But that's the magic of it. That's the magic of the draft.
Speaking of the draft, and we'll get right back to your questions. Quick vent here, Pierre, and I know you're in agreement with me. And they're already, I guess, GMs complaining about it at the GM meetings. This will be the first year they're going to a decentralized draft. And already teams are saying, why do we do this? What's going on? And Bettman doesn't like it either, apparently. So, like, you were just talking about, knowing what a team might need down the road in the draft. Does the fact that those guys aren't all going to be there on the ground, how much does that, I know you've got cell phones and everything and you have millions of ways to get in touch, but does that affect the potential for trades? Because Pierre, you've been in these things. One of my favorite things is kind of spotting out which GMs are talking to each other on the floor and potentially working something out. You don't have that anymore. It's not going to be the same.
It won't be. You're right about everything you just said. You're allowed to vent on that too, by the way.
Thank you.
It's not just the GMs, by the way. Watch how many of the underlings go and relay messages back and forth. I call them the fire starters. Those are the guys that start the fires, and it's the GMs that eventually put them out. And so now not every team has that ability, but most teams do utilize the fire starter method. So the one thing I'd say, I was not aware that Commissioner Bettman wasn't happy with this because I thought it was his idea.
Oh yeah. When he was talking about the last press conference he did before the GM meetings, and he was talking about the draft, he said, "Don't get mad at me. The teams wanted it, not me." So
here I don't want to, and you know that I'm friends with numerous owners in the league.
Yes.
Okay? We've had some of them on here. Here's what I would say to my friends that are owners. When I got into the NHL as a $500 million a year business, that's what the take was for all the teams, $500 million.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's $6.5 billion. $6.5 billion. So I'm going to just guess, if you have 32 teams, everybody flies to LA, I'm going to say it's between $2 and $4 million expense for the entire weekend. That's like a nickel in a $6.5 billion a year business. Stop the nonsense. If that's why they did it, that's wrong.
Pierre, tell them what you said to me when I was driving up too about who gets really screwed in this situation. The scouts on the ground who drive all through those roads that I drove through to get here today, those backwood roads through the mountains, working their tail off, going to rink after rink after rink and drinking bad coffee. And now you take those 2 days away from them?
Scouts are probably the most underappreciated people that work. Scouts and trainers. I don't want to take anything away from the trainers.
Yep.
Scouts and trainers are probably the two most, I don't want to say disrespected, but not appreciated enough members of the National Hockey League community. They are all phenomenal. It is a lonely business.
Yep.
It's a hard business. Not everybody's treated the same. It's fun. It can be amazingly rewarding, but I've driven all across the prairies. I don't know how many times by myself. I've been all over Russia by myself. I've been in the Arctic Circle by myself. Trust me, Jimmy, it's not exactly a rose garden, but it's very rewarding if you like it. And the big reward for scouts is draft day. They work 360 nights a year for 2 days. That's what they do.
Mm-hmm.
And to take that away from them, I think, is not only disrespectful, it's bordering on grotesque.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. And GB there in the comments section says, don't forget the parents who would love to go there in person and then have that moment with their kids. Now, I will say, GB, they are going to have, I think they were reporting today, the top 50 players will be there in person. So their families obviously will be with them. But I agree with you.
So here's my
many more parents that would have been there.
Here's my question on that, Jimmy. What happens if one of those top 50 guys doesn't go for a little while?
You
think that's going to be a comfortable thing sitting there by himself?
Oh boy, awkward.
No, it's just not right.
Gonna be bad.
You can break a kid with that. I've seen kids broken at the draft. I have.
Oh yeah.
Their agents never should have brought them, and they did. And they were told the kid's probably not going. And they bring him, and he doesn't go. And you see some tough stuff at the end of drafts. It's not pretty. It's not pretty at all.
That's brutal. All right, let's get to our next question. What do we got? Juice 03017. Oh, thank you. Giving us $2.79. We appreciate it. Can Laval win the Calder Cup this year? I think yes, Pierre.
They can. Here's going to be the issue. Hershey's really good. Wilkes-Barre's good. Coachella Valley's always good. There's some teams out there that are pretty good right now. It'll be interesting, and Rochester, I don't want to take anything away from them. Buffalo hadn't done a lot of smart things this year, but one thing they did that was really smart, they put Devin Levi down in Rochester.
Oh yeah.
And he made a big difference there. So Can Laval do it? They can. But this is not a lead pipe cinch. Like I couldn't say, like I've been able to say the last couple of years, Hershey's going to win, which they did. But I could say Hershey's going to have competition this year, which I couldn't say in previous years.
All right. Next question. Ethan Russell, do you think the Blue Jackets are going through the same thing that the Flyers did last year? Hate to see them slow down. That's right. The Flyers were in contention kind of late, and then they just hit that wall.
I think it's a good point, Ethan. I think there's just two different storylines, though. The Gaudreau, the emotion and the sadness of the Gaudreau family situation was very difficult for them. And they used it as a motivational tool really well. And I think they came out of the outdoor game with Detroit with so much pop. And then all of a sudden, mentally, I think and even physically, I think they just ran out of steam. It's hard to maintain that over 82 games. Mm-hmm. So I think it's just been tough. And you can see it. It's not that they're not trying. They're trying. It's just they don't have that extra gear, which you need to have.
Yeah, I hear. All right, next question. Alex Ivanowski, what's up, Alex? I think Rantanen is a great player. Having said that, I think the best pure winger in hockey right now is Pasternak. Look at his line mates over the past 2 years. He doesn't get enough credit. Why? Alex, you're preaching to the choir. I'm in that Boston market, man, and it's disgusting to me how much disrespect Pasta gets. They do not appreciate him, and it's sad.
He's a heck of a player.
He's amazing.
If people knew the truth, how close he was to being a Chicago Blackhawk, people have no idea. And I'm not going to reveal my source or anything else, but I know what was going on behind the scenes, and because I was working the draft, and I just remember this one gentleman telling me the best player for us to get will be David Pasternak. I've seen him play in Sweden, and I'm telling you. Yep. And he kept telling the Hawks. He worked for the Hawks. He kept telling them.
And they didn't do it.
They didn't do it.
Yeah. No, Pierre, think of where the Bruins are having a bad year. Think of where they'd be without him this year.
No, I don't want to because it bothers me because the Bruins are an important franchise.
Yeah.
I know. Look, people don't want to hear this stuff. All those original 6 teams matter a ton. Mm-hmm. When it's going well for the league, the original 6 teams are going well.
Yeah.
When Chicago's kicking butt, the TV ratings are big. When Detroit's kicking butt, the TV ratings are big. When New York's kicking butt, the TV ratings are big. When Boston's kicking butt, the TV ratings are big. When they're not, the TV ratings are where they are right now.
Yeah. Yep, I'm with you. All right, next question. Stephen Cardinal, hey guys, would you sign Brock Nilsson $15 million 2 years?
Yeah. That's not for second line center, that's probably right where it is.
I think that's right on the mark right there.
I don't think that's going to be high enough for him.
Yeah. That would actually, that's not a bad deal. All right, next question. Randy Workman, how did the Rangers play so bad, meaning last night?
Randy.
We're trying to figure that out too, Randy.
Randy, I'm telling you what, Jimmy knows I don't get mad much because I don't have a horse in the game. There's certain guys I really cheer for, but I don't care which teams win. I called Jimmy today. He was driving. I wanted to make sure my partner was okay on the roads. Jimmy, did your car break? I was angry.
I know. That's when I lost you.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah. Unreal.
No, but that's why I said, okay, so you don't play well, and your coach gives you an OPT today. OPT is an optional skate. They give you an OPT today. And I just read before I came on with you, Jimmy, and with Commissioner Christensen and with Nick. I just read before I came on with you guys that some guys didn't exercise their option. Even if you only went out for 10 minutes, you got to go out there, man. You got to face the music.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I think maybe you were the one who taught me that too, Pierre. I could always tell when a team was really in it and they're really ramped up to play was when the majority of them would show up for those optionals. And you're right, even if it was few minutes, but just seeing them out there, you'd be like, okay, these guys are in. They're on it right now. They want it.
We played them back-to-back Stanley Cups, okay? Back-to-back. And I'm just telling you, you ask Kevin Stevens, he was one of our hardest work. He never missed a practice.
Oh, yeah.
Joey Mullen was one of the oldest guys on the team, never missed a practice. Brian Trottier, arguably, I think he was our oldest player. No, Gordy Roberts might have been a little older. All those guys skated, every single one of them. And Murphy and Mullen would come out 30 minutes before practice with me to work on different skills.
Wow.
So, we're talking about Hall of Fame players. And Kevin Stevens should be considered as a Hall of Fame type player. He should be.
I agree.
And so, I'm telling you, Jimmy, I see Kevin and I talk to him. He was our hardest worker in those optional skates. We made every single skate in the playoffs after the first round optional. We did. We had a full house. All our guys showed up.
Jesus. Yeah, I mean, that's a bad sign. If I'm the Rangers fans right now, I wouldn't like that. All right, next question. Post night on 1:30. If the Habs make it, assume first round versus the Caps, could you see them going on a run as a Cinderella team? Let's get there first.
Yeah, Cinderella. No, don't talk that way.
Yeah,
that's bad
let's get
hockey
there first.
Karma. Just get in first, and then worry about that later. The one thing I would say, though, it would bring back a lot of memories from 2010.
Yeah, I know. That's going to start, Pierre. You know that's coming in the media right now. I guarantee it.
Yarrow was so good. I was talking to Maxie Lapierre last night on Tony Marinaro's show, and Maxie was on that team. I brought Gord Miller and I did all the games, and Roman Hammerlick was fearless, and Yarrow Spacek blocking those shots. Josh Georges, those three guys on defense were fearless. They were crazy. Ovechkin was ripping them like in 2010. And they're diving face first in front of Ovechkin's shot. And Yarrow's just ripping them out of the air. It was amazing. It really was amazing.
Good stuff. All right, next question. Vincent Yoel, what's up, Vince? Hello, gentlemen. The draft at the Sphere was a wonderful spectacle. Do you think the awards could happen the same weekend and really draw star power to the event? Yeah, I was hoping they went through this decentralized thing and keep it at the Sphere, keep it at one location. That was amazing.
Yeah, I like what Vincent just said. I think that's actually a really good take.
Yeah, just make it a big weekend.
I don't know. I just don't know.
They're missing an opportunity. That's
all.
The
one thing people need to know, I believe the outreach from the league to grow the game has never been better. The Four Nations thing, Jimmy, was really good. People can say whatever they want. And going back to the Olympics, Jimmy, is massive. Jimmy, it's a really important thing for them to go back to the Olympics. And I didn't fight very much with the league when I was doing a lot of stuff for NBC. But the one thing I knew is after 2014, they weren't going back. And I told them, you're making a huge mistake, especially with Crosby getting older, Bergeron getting older. And then you see that McDavid's coming in, McKinnon's coming in. All these guys are coming in the league, and you're not sending him to the Olympics. I said, you're making a massive mistake. And I'm sure they got mad at me too. But
you were right, though.
I'm happy to see they're going back. I think it's really good they're going back.
It's going to be great. All right, next question. Harley Stankus, thoughts on how Billy Guerin handled the trade deadline? Not bad. I think we've mentioned it before, Pierre. This year was kind of
house money. They're playing with house money.
Exactly.
Next year, the scrutiny.
You watch, they'll do something
Minnesota
big.
Wild, because Parisian and Suter's contracts are off the books.
Yep.
And let's be fair to Billy G and to Johnny Hines and to Jack Capuano and that staff
injuries.
there. They've been decimated by injuries. My goodness gracious.
It's unreal.
They're crushed.
Yep.
Just crushed by injury.
Yeah, for sure. All right, next question. Bert L. How are scouts usually evaluated by the organization? Scouts can find talented players, but they don't control whether the guy is drafted or how they're developed. Great point, Bert.
What an awesome, Bert. Way to go.
I knew Pierre would like that.
The more progressive teams take all your reports, and when I did it, they were handwritten reports. Now you do them on computer, so everything's logged. And so you can go look at guys' reports and say, how'd you miss on that guy? How'd you miss on that guy? So you find out where guys are in the pecking order. But that's such a good – it was harder to do when I started because everything was handwritten. And not everybody was traveling all over. Usually you just stayed in your area. I was going all over the world. I didn't even know where half my reports were and what suitcase they were in, you know what I mean? But you eventually figure it out. But no, I think that's such a good question. So basically they're evaluated by what they read on their reports, which are logged on a computer, and everybody in hockey operations has access to them.
Did you ever keep any of those old reports, Pierre? You still have it?
No, but I have a good story to tell you.
Yeah.
Ray Shiro got the job in Pittsburgh, and he and I are very good friends, obviously.
Yeah.
So he goes, I went into the filing cabinet and I looked at some of your reports. He goes, oh my God, they were pretty good, but you were pretty harsh too. I said, yeah, well, I didn't run with the herd. I said, that player, I don't care what everybody else says. He's never playing. And sometimes I was right and sometimes I was wrong.
Yeah. What are you gonna do? You're honest.
He went and read. They're still on file. I don't know if they're still on file, but they were on file when he got there in 2006. Yeah, they were.
Wow.
Still there. Yeah.
All right, next question. Johnny Golden, could the Habs re-sign Devo?
They could, but what are you going to do with Owen Beck?
Yeah,
you got to start thinking internally and cap-wise where you're going to go with guys, and so that's why I don't think
it's nothing against Dvorak. It's just they got to progress the young guys. That's all.
That's where I think they're going to have a bit of an issue there. So we'll see. All
right, next question. Randy Workman. Sorry, another one. Flames are linked to Carter King from University of Denver. Does Pierre have a report on him?
He does. Pierre's watched him play a lot. He's a very good face-off man. He's a bit undersized. He plays physical. He's very highly skilled. He's amazingly competitive. He knows how to win. He's physical at the college level. I don't know if he'll be able to do that at the pro level because he's not overly large, but he's a gamer and he's very good on face-offs.
All right, next question. Ron LaRoque. Pierre, what does Scotty think about Montreal right now if you've talked to him recently, and Detroit?
I'm not going to put words in Scotty's mouth. So all I'm going to say is Scotty watches a lot of games.
Yep. We'll leave it at that. He's watching for sure. All right, next question. Alex Ivanowski. When I look at the Rangers, I honestly can't make any sense out of their roster or their team. I feel like they're just lost and don't know what to do. What's their biggest overall problem? If I knew that, Alex, I'd be making a lot more money.
I'll tell you what I've been telling you all year long, and I'm not changing. I don't think the internal development's been good enough. I don't think guys have gotten better as the season's gone along.
No, they've regressed.
I don't think guys have gotten better.
Yep.
And I don't know if that's on the guys. I don't know if that's on the work habits. I don't know if that's because the coaches are coaching a different way. But I know all those coaches. The only one I really don't know very well is Dan Muse. But I know Housley. I know Laviolette. I know Pekka really well. I think Pekka's really good. I think Laviolette's really good. I think Housley's really good. But you know what? The players haven't gotten a lot better. They haven't improved.
Yeah. All right, next question. Ethan Russell, what do you think of the key attributes to the success that the Canadians are having?
Character. Watch the game last night, Ethan. Those guys could have mailed it in after Montembeault gave up a bad goal to Travis Hamonic. They could have mailed that baby in and say, oh, woe is me. It didn't work. They never did. They pushed. They battled, and you know what? Ottawa didn't push back. They've beaten Ottawa 3 times so far this year.
Yep.
Their character is so high. Their coach has done an amazing job with their staff, making players better. Arbor Jackey's better. Jaden Struble is better. Lane Hudson is better. Jake Evans is better. Josh Anderson is probably the most improved player on the team from a year ago. Like, I can go down the line. How about Slavkovsky? Everybody wanted him turfed the first 20 games of the year. How's he doing? How about Newhook? Newhook's been fantastic the last little while. So they've had internal development, and they got character, and they got guys that care about one another. And that freaking Suzuki, he's a leader. He's a leader. That kid's a leader.
He's really it's unreal. All right, next question. Filter despair. Wouldn't Jack Eye shine in the playoffs when the refs put the whistles away?
You know what, though? I got to say this. I like Arbor and the way he plays. I didn't like what he did last night. His hit on Matthew Highmore, he's freaking lucky he didn't get a penalty there. And I don't know if he got a call from the league or not today to say, dude, keep your elbow down. Don't do that again, or you're going to be going away for a few games, and it's going to cost you money. If Arbor can keep it under control, he's doing great. And in the playoffs, he'll be valuable, especially if somebody tries to rub up Suzuki or Caulfield, because they will. You know that if they make the playoffs. Yep. But no, Arbor's done a good job. Arbor's done a very good job this year.
All right, next question. Alex Duvall, is Hobart going to get the three-peat for D3 hockey?
Boy, it sure looks like it, Alex, but they got a big game this weekend coming up. So actually 2 games if they win. So, yeah, they could. The three-peat would be great, Alex. That'd be awesome. Jimmy, didn't we have a great visit with Coach Mark Taylor?
Oh, yeah, I was just going to bring that up. That was awesome.
It was great.
So fun.
That was so good. Yeah, you know what? I'm not even going to try to couch this. Hobart really should move to Division I in hockey. They really should.
Yeah.
Just being totally honest. They're really good. They may not win this year. They may not. It's hard to win once. They've won twice in a row. Yeah. But they could beat a lot of Division I teams, Jimmy. They could beat a lot of Division I teams.
All right, next question. Posting it on 130. Pierre, you mentioned Monty giving up a weak goal from a Monic shot from the blue line, but did that one not get tipped or change direction?
Not in my opinion. Went right through his right leg. Yeah. I mean, he's got his leg on the ice. I don't know if it did. Then I stand corrected. I was watching the game like everybody. Well, not like everybody else, but I was watching it. I thought that should have been stopped. And I didn't like the Amadio goal either. That wasn't tipped at all. That went up and over him, and I don't know what the heck happened there. And then Amadio finds the puck behind the goalie. Doesn't mean Montembeault played poorly. I thought it was a bad goal.
Yep. All right, next question. This is the last one. Ethan Russell, will the Big Ten get just as strong and dominant that the Hockey East is?
Well, they have been. They just was a down year this year. But, Ethan, it's a good question. Hockey East didn't have the same kind of – outside of Lane Hudson and Macklin Celebrini, they didn't have massive star power away type situation. But the other thing Hockey East did unbelievably this past offseason, they played hard in the portal, and they won a lot in the portal. So they were bringing in established players from other big-time Division I programs, and it worked for them. So that's why I think Hockey East was so freaking hard this year.
I hear you. Well, listen, amazing show here today. I want to thank the ECAC staff, Doug Christensen, Nick Serbinsky, and Julia Webster, and the Lake Placid Pub and Brewery in this place right here. PJ O'Neill's where I am. Great place. Highly suggest anyone that's in the area this weekend, come by here, check it out.
Hey,
awesome staff.
Jimmy.
Yep.
You know what you should do tomorrow to start the show? Seriously, I'm being totally serious.
Okay.
Julia should sing the national anthem.
I'll see what I can do, Pierre.
Before the show. She's so good at it. She did it at Cornell, and I was like, who's singing? I was in the TV press box doing the game on TV.
Yeah.
And I'm looking around like, who's doing this? Is this a recording? And then I look in the corner of Liner Rink, and it's Julia singing the anthem.
Wow.
And she was so good. She was so good at it. And I think she's singing there at Lake Placid before the games on Friday. So I'm daring you, Jimmy, to go.
All right, I'll ask her. I'll ask her, Pierre. I can't promise anything, but I definitely will ask.
Say McGuire wants you to sing the anthem before the show tomorrow.
Does she have to do O Canada too, or no?
I'll do O Canada, and they'll scare everybody away. No, I'm just kidding. She
Good
can do
stuff.
whatever she wants, but I'd love to hear her sing the anthem for our listeners because she's so darn good at it.
Awesome. Well, again, want to thank them and looking forward. Tomorrow, though, we will be same time, our regular time, 4 to 5. We'll be over at Romer's in the Olympic Complex. Really looking forward to checking that out. My first time up here, so I can't wait to see everything. We'll be there, and then we'll be there again 2 to 3 p.m. on Friday before the games get going. Pierre, good luck to Ryan and Northeastern, but I'll talk to you before then.
No, we're what do you mean? I'm doing the show from our friend tomorrow. I'm at West End Johnny's.
You're going to be at West End Johnny's. That's right.
I'm taking
Looking
over the
forward to
Red
it.
Room. I'm doing the podcast from the Red Room tomorrow at West End Johnny's.
Awesome. Good stuff.
Johnny
Enjoy
said
it.
to say hello. He says, "Did you forget who he is, Jimmy?"
No. Come on. I
Well,
called him the other day on St. Patrick's.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. So no,
I was checking in on him.
I'll be at West End Johnny's tomorrow before the game. So I encourage, and I know there's 2 teams that are using West End Johnny's as like their fun place. UConn and Coach Kavanaugh, their group's going to be there. They're playing the early game, so they'll be there I think from 2 to 4, and then Northeastern comes in 5 to 7, and their game should start at 7:30. So if you're part of that group, just so you know, the UConn people are coming in early. They're playing BU, and then the Northeastern people are coming in later. And I'll be in the Red Room in the back where all the former presidents have been. And I'll be talking to my friend, the president, Jimmy Murphy.
Good stuff. Hey, speaking of Coach Kavanaugh, congratulations to him. Hockey's Coach of the Year named today. Great job by him.
You want to hear how humble he is? I'm going to tell you right now. He goes, "Thanks, Pierre. A byproduct of a lot of good players."
That sounds like Cavi.
I sent him a note, and that's just so him.
Yep.
That's just so him. He's such a gentleman.
It is. Well, you'll see him this weekend, I'm sure, Pierre. Enjoy the rest of the night. Enjoy the hockey tonight, Pierre, and I will talk to you from Romer's tomorrow here on the Eye Test on the Sick Podcast Network. Have a good one.
And that's a wrap. Hope you don't miss us too much until next time. Follow the Eye Test with Pierre McGuire and Jimmy Murphy on YouTube, Facebook, Google Play, and Apple Podcasts.